Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So what do Manchester United need to do to become title contenders? Now first of all, I think Manchester United do need around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. I think actually no, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has recently revealed that Manchester United need around 3 signings at least to become title contenders next season. And of course, we have got to get the right calibre players in. And I do believe that Manchester United do need qualification for the Champions League, to attract players to the elite level. Now, of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified the areas where he thinks Manchester United need to strengthen up. Obviously, he wants us to bring a centre forward in. Even if Manchester United do decide to make Odion Ighalo's transfer permanent, I still believe we need another centre forward. We also need a right winger, and we also need a central midfielder in that. So I think these are the positions where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does want to strengthen up. Now, it still remains unknown whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager in the summer transfer window. But obviously, don't forget Ed Woodward has recently been talking. Also, to the Glazers have been talking, because obviously, they're both determined to back Solskjaer. Also, to a lot of our players are still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But it's good, that Manchester United are making plans for the summer transfer window. But from my own perception, I would give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at least another season at Manchester United. I would give him at least another season because I have got to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot of credit recently because Manchester United have really turned a corner. Like I mentioned, we are in a good vein of form. We are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. I've also got to put into account, a lot of aspects of our game have really, really improved. We're creating more chances, we're scoring more goals, our football looks a lot more expansive, defensively look much better, and a lot of players have really, really galvanised themselves under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. So yeah, we do look a much better team now, and I think, it's since the arrival of Bruno Fernandes, it's him that's making the difference in the team, is Bruno Fernandes. As I said, very instrumental. His decision making is very, very good. Bruno Fernandes has like 3 goals and 4 assists already. And, he won Premier League Player of the Month for February. So he's definitely, making the difference in the team is Bruno Fernandes. And he's definitely, the best player we have recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. And we have recruited over 30-odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era, but definitely Bruno Fernandes is the best. Some Manchester United fans, have got different perceptions to me. Some United fans, still believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't the right man, even though we have been in a good vein of form recently. I'm still very sceptical that he is the long-term solution for Manchester United, and there's a lot of United fans that are very sceptical, saying, that, we won't get our 21st title under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but there's still a possibility chance that he could be sat at the end of the season. Now, obviously, Manchester United have got quite a few ambitions, and one of those ambitions is the Europa League. Now, obviously, the Europa League is a priority for Manchester United because it's a chance for us getting some silverware on the board. Plus, it's another route to Champions League qualification. The FA Cup is a priority for us, because we're into the quarterfinals of that for the 6th season on the trot. And that's a chance for us getting some silverware on the board. As it stands in the league at the moment, we are sitting 5th, and we are only 3 points behind Chelsea. But don't forget, 5th place is a Champions League spot, reflecting on Manchester City's ban from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. So just put that into the equation. So, yeah, from back to what I said, I think Solskjaer does deserve at least another season at Man United. Of course, he has been here now for 15 months, so he's been here over the year. Obviously, Solskjaer has been permanent Manchester United manager now for a year. Yes, I do believe that we give Solskjaer the job a bit too early, but the main explanation why we're giving him the job is reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager, because don't forget, he did really, really well in that 3-month period, but Solskjaer he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Obviously, analysing the vast majority of these players, they are not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. There's only 5 players that are Solskjaer's that he has recruited in. Obviously, last summer he recommended Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. And in January he recommended Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's. And Solskjaer, don't forget, is inheriting the vast majority of them, because there's still like 9 players here now from the Jose Mourinho era. And don't forget, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was talking about how he had to, overhaul Manchester United when he replaced Mourinho. Solskjaer was, talking about the various issues, at the club when he first came in. He was basically saying, a lot of things needed to change, including tactics and players and that. This is what he was saying, because, we had Jose Mourinho for 2.5 years, and, fair play, he won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season, did Mourinho on that, but his 2.5 year tenure basically didn't work out, Jose Mourinho's, because he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the top players, the board weren't backing the signs that I wanted to recommend in the summer of 2018 and that, and, I think if we'd have still had Mourinho, probably the likes of Luke Shaw would have been gone by now. Pogba probably would have been gone by now. Martial probably even would have even gone by now and that. So yeah, the club did make a lot. The club probably did make the right decision by sacking Jose Mourinho in December 2018 and that. But Man United have been inconsistent in the last 6 or 7 years. And like I mentioned, we've had different managers with different philosophies. And obviously, Man United have not been the same team since, obviously, Alex Ferguson's retirement back in 2013 and that. Obviously, you can say Ferguson obviously made a mistake by ever recommending David Moyes in. And the main explanation why Ferguson recommended David Moyes in is because they was both Scottish. That's the only reason why he did that. Then obviously after Moyes, Van Gaal came in. He did win the FA Cup, but obviously again, it didn't work out under Louis Van Gaal, like I mentioned. But, Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. So I just think, we need to give him a bit more time. And if it doesn't work out next season, then I would get rid of him then. But he knows if he's given another season, Solskjaer, that he's got many expectations to exceed at the football club. And like I mentioned, Solskjaer will always be a club legend. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years and stuff like that. And don't forget, from 2008 to 2010, Solskjaer managed a Man United reserve team. And he watched actually, some of this team at this day and age grow and develop it. So this is even when he first came in, before he purchased anybody, he knew some of this squad, from managing them in the reserve team, especially, Paul Pogba. Especially Paul Pogba. But he's inexperienced as a manager, Solskjaer. But like I mentioned, longer he stays in the job, he's gaining more managerial experience and that. Obviously, since Solskjaer got the job permanently, his record has been disastrous. Obviously, taking into account though his record at Cardiff was disastrous. The main explanation why he got sacked from Cardiff is because he got Cardiff relegated, but he only managed around 29 or 30 games for Cardiff, did Solskjaer. But Man United have enjoyed their worst start ever to a Premier League season. But, like I mentioned, a lot of teams have been very inconsistent in the Premier League this season. So, like I mentioned, I think Man United can win the title again. I think we can win it, from my perception, within the next 2 to 3 years. I don't think it's going to take Man United 30 years, to win another Premier League title like it has done with Liverpool. Now, I don't think we'll win the league next season, but I think we can definitely challenge, as long as, we can get the right players in to Manchester United. So, yes. And also, too, not only that, we're making plans on getting rid of more players in the summer transfer window. I think we're planning on getting rid of around 5 players in the summer transfer window and that, because he's still problematic players at the football club. And actually, a lot of players have left since Solskjaer's arrival, so I'll give Solskjaer a lot of credit for that as well. He has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in, and we have generated some money for some of their departures, of course. Now, obviously, like I've said to you, I think the players that do need to be moved on, obviously, Phil Jones needs to be moved on. He needs to be moved on. Lingard and Pereira, I think they're going to be moved on as well. I'm going to give you some news regarding them bits later on in the video. I think we'll negotiate on getting rid of Sanchez on a permanent transfer. I think we'll also negotiate on getting rid of Marcus Rojo on a permanent transfer, because obviously Sanchez is out on loan into Milan. And obviously, Rojo is out on loan at Estudiantes. Rojo is out on loan at Estudiantes. So I think we'll get rid of them on permanent transfers. So yeah, we'll get rid of around 5 players in the summer. So now let's get into the news on Lingard and Pereira. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has snubbed 2 players, and that's obviously Lingard and Andres Pereira, and this is coming out of the media. And obviously, he's been leaving them out of our team selection even before the coronavirus outbreak. So basically, Lingard and Pereira have lost their place in the team. They've lost the place in the team of Lingard and Pereira. Obviously, Lingard's lost his place following the arrival of Bruno Fernandes. And obviously, Pereira has lost his place because he's behind the likes of McTominay, Fred and Matic. Pereira was playing a lot earlier on in the season, but that was only due to the injury to Scott McTominay. But like I mentioned, Scott McTominay is now back. But I do believe, from my own perception anyway, that Lingard and Pereira are 2 liabilities. Now, Lingard, of course, has been at Manchester United for several years. And like I mentioned before, reflecting on his status at the football club, Lingard should be putting much more better performances out. Reflect on his status at the football club and that. And he, like I mentioned, he's been here for years. He risen up our youth academy and that. Don't get me wrong, he's had some good spells as a Man United player, but his stats were atrocious last season. He didn't score 1 goal or register 1 single assist, did Jesse Lingard. Obviously, he's been loaned out at quite a few clubs, Leicester, Birmingham, Derby and Brighton. I think he's got just under 16 months left on his contract at Man United, but I think we're going to negotiate on, getting rid of Jesse Lingard. You can play the number 10, you can play him on the right, but we just can't seem to get the best out of the player. So he has received a lot of criticism reflecting on his poor performances. Andres Pereira, obviously, a lot of United fans have criticised him, and, you can also play him in number 10 and on the right. Don't forget, Andres Pereira had a few loan spells at Granada and Valencia. And I think he did well during his loan spells, but Man United he hasn't been so good. He's had the odd good game here and there. The vast majority of Andres Pereira's appearances have been from the bench. So put that into the equation. I think he's still got around 3 years left on his contract, by the way. He's under contract with us until 2023 is the Brazilian. So that's 2 players I think, Manchester United are going to get rid of. So, yeah, so that's the latest news on them. Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has given his stance on the Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba partnership and that. And, Solskjaer has come out and said, he's excited about the prospect of Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba playing together in our midfield, because it has confirmed when the Premier League season does resume that Paul Pogba will be back in action and he will be playing alongside Bruno Fernandes. So, yeah. And obviously, former Manchester United player Dimitar Berbatov, he came out and, he says Manchester United should keep Paul Pogba. But from his own perception, he had doubts about Bruno Fernandes and Pogba playing as a midfield partnership, because he said, they have similarity styles, and this is the main explanation why he doesn't think they'd work out as a partnership in our midfield. Now, obviously, last week there was, a lot of narratives coming out of the mainstream media regarding Paul Pogba. Obviously, saying, that he's going to be sold by Manchester United in the summer. Man United are willing to accept £100 million for Pogba. That figure's totally comparison to what we wanted last summer, because last summer we wanted around £180 million for Paul Pogba, and obviously Real Madrid were not willing to meet it, so that was a stumbling block of Pogba making his move to Real Madrid, and Real Madrid weren't willing to meet what we was demanding for the player. So yeah, reportedly willing to accept now £100 million for him. Don't forget, Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola has been talking a lot. He has been talking a lot as his agent, Paul Pogba's. And obviously, he did say his agent, Mini Raiola, liked to take a great footballer to Real Madrid. He also did say that he's having a complicated time at Manchester United. But obviously, Mini Raiola has received a lot of criticism from Manchester United. Obviously, because he has been talking a lot in general since the start of the year. Don't forget, he was coming out and saying he told Gary Neville to screw himself on his birthday. Obviously, Neville had responded to that and called him a leech. Also, too, Mini Raiola was coming out saying that Paul Pogba is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's property. And he received a lot of criticism for this. So a lot of United fans were unhappy, with some of the comments that Mini Raiola were coming out and saying. So a lot of United fans, were unhappy about this. But at least in the last couple of years, Mini Raiola has been working on getting his client a transfer away from Man United completed and that. Obviously, don't forget, confirmed last week, like updated you, that Ed Woodward has been back in negotiations with Mini Raiola, to obviously, resolve Paul Pogba's future and to stop Mini Raiola making public attacks against Man United because, he's made a lot of public attacks against the football club. So put that into the equation. But reports were coming out the other week, couple of weeks ago, saying that, Paul Pogba's interested in staying at Man United. And, he's interested in extending his contract. And the main explanation for this is because he believes he can form a partnership with Bruno Fernandes. So there's still a possibility chance that Paul Pogba could stay at Manchester United. You just never know. His future's not been fully resolved as yet. And obviously, Paul Pogba's only played 8 times this season for Manchester United. So due to his injuries, his appearances have been limited. But it will still be very, very good to see Paul Pogba, back in action, definitely. Pogba's got 2 years left on his contract at the moment as it stands, 1 year with an option of a further year. But since Pogba rejoined Man United from Juventus back in 2016, he has been subjected to so much transfer speculation. And we just need to basically end his long-running transfer saga. Pogba was back in training last week. He was training indoors, don't forget. And he had some personal coaching with Michael Carrick, did Paul Pogba. But yeah, Man United paid $89 million for him. As it stands at the moment, he is our most expensive signing, is Paul Pogba. So yes, I think they'll do very, very well together as a partnership in our midfield and that. I honestly do think they'll do very, very well. But, when Paul Pogba does come back, will he play regularly? Because I think for Paul Pogba to play on a regular basis, I think we either need to drop Fred, McTominay and Matic. And there's no real main explanation why I would want to drop Fred, McTominay or Matic, because they've done really, really well. I've got to give Fred a lot of credit. He's done really, really well. I thought Fred, from my own perception was exceptional in Ukraine. Under Mourinho, never really got the opportunity, did Fred. But since Solskjaer's come in, we've seen a totally different player because he's been given his opportunities under Solskjaer, is Fred. Of course, Manchester United did pay £50 million for him. McTominay, I've been very, very impressed with him. Matic, he's a backup to Fred and McTominay because Fred and McTominay are preferred ahead of Matic, but Matic has done also really, really well recently. Don't forget, Matic we triggered a 1-year extension on his contract the other week. I think it's reflected on his good run of performances. Matic is now in his 3rd season at the club. He has made over 100 appearances for Man United, and he scored, is it around 4 or 5 goals for the football club? But yeah, we did pay £40 million for him from Chelsea, so I've got to, also give him a lot of credit in that. Give him a lot of credit. So yeah, revert back to what I said. That's the latest news on that, on Paul Pogba and that. Now, obviously, these are a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda we could go in for in the summer transfer window. Now, obviously, we're going to be making contact with a lot of players and a lot of agents in weeks to come. Now, as you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed his transfer strategy, and he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United like he did do last summer. Now, obviously, the players on our agenda, Jadon Sancho, he's one player on our agenda. There has been reports coming out saying that, due to the coronavirus, it could affect, clubs' transfer businesses, and this could end our pursuit of Jadon Sancho. Obviously, Jadon Sancho is expected to leave Borussia Dortmund at the end of the season. Sky in Germany confirmed this back in February. The players also confirmed this. And I think Man United still remains his number 1 choice. And recent reports said he wants a transfer completed in July, does Jadon Sancho. Now, Chelsea are willing to pay Borussia Dortmund's asking price, because Dortmund have said they want around 120 million, minimum 100 million pounds. Madrid, PSG and Liverpool have also been in for him. Klopp's held negotiations with Liverpool's owners over transfers for Sancho and Timo Werner. But, Sancho's a very, very good player and he would dramatically improve Manchester United in that. We'd have to make him our most expensive signing and a record signing in the Premier League. But Sancho coming back to the Premier League would be very, very beneficial. So he's one of our number one priority targets. Jude Bellingham, he's obviously not on our agenda. Obviously, I give you the news about Maddison last week and Jack Grealish. Obviously there's quite a few strikers on our agenda in that, because basically Man United are looking for an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Don't forget, last week Lukaku was talking a lot about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He was talking a lot. And he's actually, backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because he believes Man United are going into the right direction under him. He believes we're making the right decisions and we are recruiting the right players in. And maybe now we'll come to regret the decision by letting Romelu Lukaku leave the football club. Lukaku did endure 2 years at Manchester United. But, we got 70 odd million pounds for his departure, don't forget. So, we'll be happy, with the money we generated from his departure. And I think there's some players over the years that we've brought in and got rid of, who we shouldn't have got rid of. Maybe under Herrera, you can say we shouldn't have got rid of him. Because obviously, Herrera endured 5 years at Manchester United. It infuriated me more because we let Herrera go on a free transfer. So put that into the equation. Put that into the equation and that. But like I mentioned, I think a lot of players have really, really improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance. And, don't forget, Man United have had a lot of injuries this season. So, reflect on the injuries we've had to make a lot of rotation. Obviously, Rashford's still out. I think Rashford's expected back in the next couple of weeks. He's been out with a back injuries, Marcus Rashford. But, like I mentioned, he's been one of our best players this season as Rashford. Obviously, I think Foster Mensu's still out, isn't he? Obviously, Lee Grant's still out. He's a long-term absence, Lee Grant. He's seldom played since his arrival from Stoke in the summer of 2018. Diego Dalot sustained a few injuries this season. Martial sustained quite a few injuries this season. To be fair, though, Martial has recently rejuvenated himself. Martial does predominantly play out on the left, but obviously this particular season he's been playing in that number 9 role. But a lot of people say he needs to go back to the left-hand side, does Anthony Martial. Now, there was reports the other week saying that, there's talk saying that Martial could leave the football club. His future is in doubt. And he says if we were to fail to get qualification for the Champions League, then Martial could possibly make a move to Inter Milan. Now, obviously, don't forget Inter Milan have already recruited 3 of our players. They got Young in this year, after Young endured 8.5 years at the club. They got Sanchez in on loan, and like I mentioned, they got Romelu Lukaku. Now, Martial's been a long servant, Martial now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, has like 60-odd goals in over 200-odd appearances for the club, around 15 or 16 goals this season. But he has received a lot of criticism. He's also enjoyed quite a few bad spells as a Man United player, especially under Mourinho. I think probably Martial's best season was under Louis van Gaal. That was his debut season when we got him at the age of 19. Of course, we paid around £36 million for him from Monaco, but he's done really, really well recently, I've got to be honest with you. I think Luke Shaw is regarded as one of the best English fullbacks, definitely, and he's done really, really well since he's come back from injury as Luke Shaw. Obviously, he was out for a good 2 months, was Luke Shaw. But analysing it, Luke Shaw has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. Sustained a few injuries as a Man United player. And he's endured some bad spells. So that replicates, Anthony Martial. Replicates a lot of the other top players. But recently has done well. He scored 2 goals in 200 appearances for the football club. He actually scored his second club career goal in the 3-0 win against Derby in the FA Cup. But, I still really, really like Luke Shaw. Man United paid around £30 million for him from Southampton. I've got to say, Victor Lindelof has really, really improved. A lot of aspects of his game have improved. Obviously, he's now in his third season as a Man United player. Struggled in his first season, but I think in his I think last season, this season, he has done really, really well. So I've got to give Lindelof a lot of credit. We paid £30 million in from Benfica. Harry Maguire, he's also done well since his arrival from Leicester last summer. I've been very, very impressed with him. Man United paid £80 million for Harry Maguire, so he's the most expensive defender in the world and the second most expensive signing at the club. His composure is good, his calmness is good. And I think Man United made the right decision by giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis. We're giving the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure. So yeah, like I mentioned, I think I'll reiterate what I said. All Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signings have done really, really well and that. Eric Bay, he's done well since he's come back from injury. Obviously, he's a backup centre back, to Maguire and Lindelof, but still possibly Bay could get there ahead of Victor Lindelof. You never know, because Bay's performances have been very, very good. My only element of concern about Bay is that he's very injury prone. He's now in his fourth season at Man United. Don't forget, Man United paid £30 million for him from Villarreal. So I've been very impressed with him. Tuan Zebe's just come back. He did well earlier on in the season. And Wan-Bissaka's obviously, been exceptional for us. His defensive contributions always been good, but recently we've started to see the attacking side of his game. He was out with a back problem, wasn't he, not too long ago. Also, I think James has endured difficult last month or so, but prior to that, he has done really, really well. It was good to see James, by the way, end his goal drought in the 5-0 win against Lask. That was his first goal for the club since the 31st of August. So he's also done really, really well. So yeah, there's so many players that have improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think, also what Manchester United need to do is to be title contenders, is to stick with the same formation. I think, Man United look more expansive with the 3-5-2 formation. That's from my own perception. A lot of United fans will have different perceptions. Some United fans will stick with the 4-2-3-1, or some United fans would go the 4-3-3 formation. I think Solskjaer went a lot with that 4-3-3 formation when he was the interim manager and that. But on the regularly this season, we've been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. But we look much better with the 3-5-2. We seldom go with 3 at the back, but Solskjaer, may think it's beneficial to go with 3 at the back against elite opposition. And, our record against the Big Six sides this season has been absolutely tremendous. And I think we've registered like 17 points against the Big Six sides this season and that. So I'll give you some Solskjaer stats already as manager. He's managed 50 Premier League games and he's won around 24 of them. Lost 13 and probably drawn 13, and lost 13. So yeah, he's managed 50 Premier League games as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. And also too, we have sorted a lot of contracts out, which is also positive news. Obviously, like I mentioned, we triggered that 1-year extension on Match's contract. Don't forget the other week, Chong committed his future with the club because he signed a new 2-year deal with an option of a further year. Don't forget De Gea last year, he signed a new deal with $375,000 a week. Rashford, was it last season, he signed a new long-term contract with the club worth around $300,000 a week. Martial last season, he signed a new, or should I say last year, he signed a new contract with the club. Luke Shaw did, was it a couple of years ago? Luke Shaw did. So yeah, we've sorted quite a few out, to be quite honest with you. So that's also very, very good news. Obviously, guys, like I give you the news yesterday, the Premier League are scheduled in a plan to resume. The scheduling a plan to resume games from the 1st of June. And obviously, for it to be completed in 6 weeks. And this is what it basically said. And it says, these games will be played behind closed doors. So obviously, the Premier League is suspended until the 30th of April. Like, obviously, Premier League, EFL and FA have confirmed. All English football's postponed until the 30th of April. But now, reportedly, the season will resume from the 1st of June. So obviously, the next season can be, begin on time. And I think this new season starts on the 8th of August, if I'm right. So let's just put that into the equation. So yeah, and it's extended indefinitely anyway, so no matter what, the season is going to resume. Obviously, like I mentioned, this coronavirus is getting a lot worse, like I mentioned on my video yesterday. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. Take care, God bless, see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.